Hello, welcome to drinknectar.com. I am your host, Josh Wade, and this is the internet's place to explore the five senses of coffee and wine. Today we are at Latah Creek Winery in Spokane, Washington. We're going to be visiting with Mike Conway, one of the original forefathers of winemaking in Spokane. We're going to head on inside, taste some wine, get a preview of what they have coming up for the year 2010. So let's head on inside. One thing that sets Latah Creek aside from other Spokane wineries is the large tasting room that they have with gift shopped items. There's a lot of variety of things you can find and experience in here for birthdays and holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving. It's all kinds of great gift shop items, and they're at 13030 East Indiana. If you drive anywhere on the freeway in Spokane, you drive by Latah Creek. Back here you have the operations and where all the wine is made, and where all the magic happens. I've been sitting down here for the last half hour at Latah Creek talking with the owner and winemaker, Mike Conway. I've been having a great conversation with you, Mike. I appreciate you having me down here.
Thank you very much.
You were talking about the history. You've been in Spokane for 28 years. How did Latah Creek get born?
Well, actually, this started way back in 1980. My wife and I moved up from California. I was an assistant winemaker there at Parducci, and we had an opportunity to come up and start a winery for a fellow here in town that at that time in the industry was almost non-existent, and worked there for 2 years until '82 and decided it was time to go off and venture into something for ourselves. So I formed a partnership with Mike Hogue, and from that partnership, 2 wineries developed, Latah Creek and the Hogue Cellars.
And you guys have been able to grow this operation from the beginning to where now you are one of the largest family-owned wineries in the state.
Correct.
And you produce about 17,000 cases a year?
Pretty close every year. When we started this business, our goal was to do about 14,000 cases per year, but found that we were selling out in October and September every year, so we almost were forced to go to that 16,000, 17,000 case level about 10 years ago, and that's where we've been able to maintain. We basically are making as much as we can possibly make on.
And it's interesting, because when we were talking, you mentioned the bulk of your distribution is done in the Northwest, and you sell the majority of your wines are white wines.
Correct.
So let's talk. How did white wines become the focus of Latah Creek? Why do you think that took off? Is it a love of yours?
Well, when I was making wine at Parducci, their specialty was white wines, and the winemaker I learned under there had a very unique way of making wines. He brought to America from Europe cold fermentation and the ability to produce naturally sweet white wine. So when I moved to Washington State, I brought that technology with me, and there was no one in the Northwest doing it at that time. So we came out with a product that was very unique back in 1982, and it just has stuck around. In fact, the white wines we produce are kind of the standard in the industry.
Many people consider you to be one of the fathers of the Spokane wine industry. And whether you hold to that term or not, that's up to you. I consider it from people that I've talked to. And you're continuing that tradition by passing it on to your daughter. And she's gotten involved in the last several years. I had an opportunity to talk to Natalie. What has her involvement been? What is it going to be? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, Natalie is eventually going to take over the operation, and she's our only child, so she will be learning everything that there is to learn, be winemaking or bookkeeping or cleaning floors or whatever. She's going to learn it all and eventually take over. And so that's kind of been our goal from the beginning, and it wasn't until the last 3 or 4 years that Natalie actually had a common idea. She initially wanted to go into physical therapy and decided that why do that when she can move into a ready-made business. So it's been fun working with her, and it's been fun teaching her. So.
We've been talking about being a fixture in the state for the last 28 years, and you really do. If you live in Spokane, you know this, that you guys give back to the community quite a bit. Tell us about some of the things that you're proud to be involved with, and how you like to give back to the community.
We love the arts, be it the symphony or the Broadway shows that come to town, and we feel that Spokane would not be the same place without it. So our biggest support we do on an annual basis is the symphony. we support them with more than we do any other organization. And it's a great asset to Spokane. But on the other hand, my wife does a lot of smaller groups. She has been very involved with the Foster Parent Association for years, and every summer she rents the carousel downtown for a whole day for the foster parents and the kids. So it's those types of things, plus the daily donations we give out for organizations that are having fundraisers. So yeah, we enjoy giving back because Spokane is the reason we're here.
What is something that's in the next immediate horizons for wine for you guys? I'm kind of leading you into what we have on the table here.
Well, you know, the wine situation in Latah Creek has gone through a transitional stage. We produce about 70% of our wines right now are white wines, and we continually sell that every year. But red wines we find are becoming stronger and stronger, and what we would like to do with the next generation of Latah Creek wines is focus more on reds. Not that we're going to discontinue any white wines, but we're going to come out with a few more red varietals, and this Venacity is one that's kind of the start of that change. In fact, it's labeled on the back as the next generation of Latah Creek wines.
Well, if your reds are anywhere near as popular as your whites, you're definitely going to have to expand the premises here, because you're going to be selling out of these as well. So.
Well, that's one of the reasons that we 2 years ago bought these barrels and brought those in here specifically for reds. And you see we have Venacity and Sangiovese, and so what we anticipate is we'll have a different red in each one at some point in time. Small limited quantities of wines that we'll be offering probably here at the tasting moment, but unique things that you wouldn't see everywhere else.
Right. So you said this was a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon and
Cabernet and Syrah and Zinfandel. And this started off a couple years ago actually as a Cab Syrah blend. We came across the Zinfandel last year, and the grapes were spectacular, so we decided to bring them in. And the thought was bottling it by itself, but then when we added it to the Cab Syrah that we were going to make as a Cab Syrah blend, I said, boy, that's even better wine than it was before, less blended together. So that's how we came up with a Venacity.
So when you describe this to customers that come in, how do you describe the nose and the palate to it?
This is a very jammy wine. There's lots of fruit to it. We don't over oak any of our wines. This is a carryover of the days when I was learning to do wine at Parducci. John Parducci was an advocate of letting the wine and the grapes speak for themselves. Don't disguise it or hide it with oak. It's easy to hide mistakes with oak, but if you leave the fruit out there by itself, it can be just wonderful. So that's what this is. Lots of fruit, lots of character, just a wonderful drinking wine.
Well, this is a very good tasting wine, and any indication of what you're doing with this wine in the future of reds is going to be great for Latah Creek. I want to thank you so much for your time. It's been great talking to you and the rest of the family. And I always leave everyone with life is meant to be enjoyed with friends, and there's no better way than to enjoy life with a friend over a glass of wine. So I encourage you to drink happy. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.